What's up, everybody? So we're here with Chris and Charles PeeWee Goldsmith.
And then he walked away, and I was like, oh, man, wait till we get up in the morning. Chris is going to hear about this. And, yeah, it was pretty funny, man. We got up in the morning, but how many miles is it, Chris, from Madison to Sturgis?
850 miles.
850 miles. I'm not bullshitting you, man. We left Chris's house at 8 o'clock sharp. Because you can ask him. I said, we're rolling, cracking throttles at 8 a.m. I don't even wait for you. Boom, we're gone. We left the road. We hit the road at 8 a.m. We got caught in 2 rainstorms. We were flying, doing 90, 100 the whole way. We rolled into Sturgis, 800 miles at 9 o'clock at night.
Damn.
Yeah, we were moving, bro. Stop and go, stop and go. But I was doing it because I had this prospect with us that I couldn't stand. Remember Phil?
Yes. And you guys,
hey, we go to Chris's restaurant. Chris is in there. I said, hey, look, hey, we're gonna go, Chris. We're gonna go to Madison. We're gonna stay at Chris's house, and we're gonna go to Chris's family's restaurant. They got a steakhouse. We're gonna eat there. Oh, great! Everybody's great. I said, so don't eat anything because that's our next stop. Don't eat anything. So I tell the prospect, hey, we gave him all of our money and he runs it and pays the bill for all the gas, right?
Yeah.
So he walks inside, he goes in, he pays for the gas. We're all sitting on the bikes. They're all running. He comes walking out, eating, drinking a Red Bull and eating a hot dog. And I looked at him, I says, hey man, what part of don't eat anything did you not understand? And he said, well, I figure a hot dog ain't gonna hurt. I said, we'll have to see. So we left, right? We get to Chris's restaurant. We pull up, we get off the bikes, and I says, hey, Phil, you stay outside and watch the bikes. And Paul was another prospect, another goon they threw out, right? Because he's a coward. He says, I got you, bro. I don't know what he's talking about, but he's saying to Phil, I got you, bro. So we get inside and we all sit down at the table and we're looking at the menu and stuff. And the waitress comes over. She goes, you guys want anything to drink? I said, I'll just have a Diet Coke. And we're going down the table. She gets the Paul and he says, I'll take a whiskey and a whiskey sour. And she goes, okay. And then she walks away. And we're just sitting there. And I got my menu and I'm kind of looking over the top of the menu at Paul. And Chris knows why. Because I look at it like this. If you're prospecting and get in the club I'm in, Billy, I don't need you drunk. If you got to watch my back and, you know what I mean? If I need you,
yeah,
I don't want to say, hey, Billy. And I look and you're drunk laying on the floor. I'd rather just run over and stomp on your head. You know what I mean?
Might as well protect yourself, right?
I said, no drinking. No prospects are drinking.
No,
I didn't allow it. Right? I did not allow it. So I figure you had to be at your sharpest all the time. Show me. I don't have to show you shit. So I looked at Paul and he looks at me and he goes, is it okay if I have that drink? I said, it must be. You already ordered it. He said, yeah, well, I don't have to drink it if it comes to the table. And I said, oh yeah, you're gonna pay Chris for the drink. And I said, you might as well drink it. And he goes, well, you're not going to kick me out. I said, no, just be in for a long ride. So he gets done eating real quick, slams his drink down. You're going to love this. Gets up and he said, hey, I'm going to go outside by Phil. And I said, all right. I thought he's going to go hang out, right? So he goes outside. We're sitting in there. Hey, we're already done eating, bro. Man, I'm already picking away with a toothpick. Just sitting there, we're talking. Phil comes, sits down, he grabs the menu, and Chris comes over, he goes, yeah, just let me know what you want, bro. Go in there. And I said, no, hey, he's good, man. He's good. He had a hot dog on the way down here. I said, he's good. He don't need nothing. And he goes, I can't have a steak? And I go, no, you can't. I said, I told you not to eat anything. You ate the hot dog. You're good, aren't you? And he goes, I'm starving. I said, too bad. Go get a Red Bull.
We were all hungry too.
Yeah.
Right?
So then, we get to the hotel room and we get in we're in the night. No, let me back that up. We didn't go to a hotel because the next day we left from Chris's house. We went right to Sturgis. And we get to Sturgis. This guy drank at least 20 to 30 Red Bulls a day. Seriously. I said to him, hey, you know what? I don't think you should be drinking that many Red Bulls, man. Something's going to happen to you, man. You're going to have a heart attack or something. So in the morning, man, I got to tell you this to crack up, Billy. I come walking out in the morning. He's laying on an air mattress, okay? And the air mattress is all flat on one side where he's laying. He's on the floor.
Yeah.
But the other half, it's a king-size bed, bro. The other half of it's full of air, full to the top.
Yeah.
And he's laying on the floor where the air came out. I looked at it and I said, man, I got to jump on this balloon, right? I got to do it. I took my body, bro. I went running and I jumped on the air part. He flew about 4 feet in the air. Like you see a person in a water thing when they jump on that water thing. Yeah. And he fell and hit his head on the end table, right? And he hits his head and he gets up and he jumps up. He's got his hands up in the air. And I go, oh, you want to fight? And he looks around the room for a little bit and everybody's kind of chuckling because they're going to enjoy this, right? I said, oh, you want to fight? And he goes, I just think it's bullshit what you did. I says, I think it's bullshit that all these members are up walking around doing shit and you're laying here sleeping. So get your ass down there and do something. So I did, bro. I did it to him all the way home. I did that to him. I tortured him. And then I didn't want to let him in a club. And his buddy, the Rat, my vice president, Georgia at the time, he was, it was funny the whole time, man. The one thing my son used to say to me all the time, Dad, I don't trust this dude. I don't trust him, man. There's something dirty about this guy. And I said, what? Tell me, show me something,
Yeah.
He had a gut feeling. It was right.
What, the vice president?
Yeah. I think he was wearing a wire to church and everything. Because when the chapel fight went down before I went to prison, the private investigator came and said, you have a full patch member that's been cooperating with Metro Police for 15 years. This is going all the way back to 2010.
I mean, think about that chapel thing, right? Just think about that for 1 second. And I'm not speaking that I have any proof of any of this, right? But I'm pretty sure that you have a better chance of winning Ed McMahon's Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes than having a Hell's Angel and a Mongol that are feuding book the same chapel back to back in Las Vegas.
I know.
I'm just saying that you probably can't prove it because another thing that people you can't prove it because they have the other thing the police have is so many dry stitches.
And everybody knows who it was, right? Everybody knows who it was, what happened. And then they don't go and raid the clubhouse right away. They sit on it, right?
Well, they sat on it for years, right, Chris? The Wedding Chapel fight happened in 2008. They didn't arrest us till 2010. I didn't go to prison till 2014. That's how long that dragged out.
I mean, I think like Las Vegas law is similar to the feds. They got to get a grand jury,
right?
And that's why they got OJ there because they only need 2 people to collaborate the same story.
That's correct.
That's all the feds need. They just need 2 people to say the same thing.
Cooperate.
They do that. That's it. And so it's just dirty all the way around. I mean, I don't want to say for sure, but I think that an outlaw put 2 people in prison for the same thing, but none of it even happened. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Grease Lightning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I think, it's just crazy how they would stir the pot and like I mean, I didn't have a lot of criminal history. So that Grogan guy, I mean, he pulled me over with my kid in the car, tried to arrest me. And he, you know, the dude was just a little weird dude, but they just drum, you know, sure they have some truth of it. There's some of it's true, but they just go fishing all the time. You know, you know, they're telling one side one thing, they're telling the other side the other thing. And you know what? They do it in street gangs, they do it in organized crime gangs. They pit people against each other. I mean, it's divide and conquer.
Just like that little weasel, Steve Crook, right?
You know, I actually talked to Steve. Steve really, honest to God, has never been a bad. He's never ever busted me or did anything. But
all of them are criminals. They're they're bad people.
That's his job, bro. That's his job. He's never busted me or anything, but I was going to tell you, when you were asking Chris, did the cops ever try to set us up against each other? Listen to this. So when the feds pulled me over in Milwaukee that time to tell me I was going to be whacked,
yeah,
they tried to pull me over another time with a Milwaukee detective. The feds were with him, and they pulled me over. And this guy's name was two initials, right? CB. And they pulled me over, and believe it or not, what a small world was, because he was a Milwaukee detective. He was best friends with, at the time, my wife's brother, who was a cop, a sergeant at 6th Precinct or something. I never talked to him. He hated me. I hated him. It didn't make a difference. But what I'm saying is, he was a cop. CB was under surveillance to the Hells Angels when I left and moved to Minnesota. When I was there for Monty's funeral, Monty's? Yeah, it was Monty or Fourby's. I can't remember. It's been so many years. It was one of those guys' funerals. And there was a white van parked out in the front with tinted windows. You couldn't even see it. Do you know nobody ever walked up and nobody ever whose van is that? Whose van it was, Chris? The cops. They were all in that van filming us. And how I know that? Because that CV told my ex-wife's brother that he was in the back of that van filming me as a prospect, walked by. He said, I was thinking about jumping out the back of the van going, hey, PeeWee, what's up, bro? And give him a hug. That would have really been good for me, right?
That would have been real bad for you.
And that's the point I'm making, what Chris said.
100%.
He would have did it, right, Chris?
Yeah.
He got me killed.
If somebody has a family member, a close family member, that's a cop, isn't that a no part of the club? Like if someone has a son or their wife's brother's a cop and the club finds out about it, aren't they barred from being able to join or no?
Not really. There's guys in the club that dads are cops. You know what I mean?
I'm sure a charter could say you're 86 if they really wanted to, right? I mean, that would kind of be up to the charter, wouldn't it, PeeWee?
Yeah.
And what's the rule if you can't ever hold the keys to another man's freedom, right?
Right. Well, you can't. Let me put it this way: you can't testify. You can't tell. You can't put anybody in jail. You can't even go. It gets even crazy. Give you an example. Look at all the years I was a bodyguard, and when I was a bouncer, doorman at all these clubs. Thing was, I never ever grabbed anybody and held them down and called the police on them, and I never put anybody in a pair of handcuffs in my life. So
you just fuck them up and send them on their way, right?
Right. That's as quick as I can, you know.
And you know what? And PeeWee knows this too. There's ways that people skirt around that by they'll have their old lady call the police for them or whatever. Right. They'll have somebody that's not with them do it. You know what I mean? Even me, even before I was in a club, I work in a family restaurant, right? If people have problems, I'm not the one that's going to call the police. I'll just tell somebody else to do it.
I mean, if there's a medical emergency, right, and it's your kid or it's your family member, are you really not to call an ambulance?
No.
So what if you get in a car accident and
I knew you were going to bring that up. Here, I could squash this whole thing for you. If me and Chris are riding down the road side by side and a car runs a red light and hits me and Chris and we're laying in the road dying. If the cops show up and we say, hey, I got the license number because the car took off, and we give them the license number, me and Chris are done. We're out. We're out of the club. We can't say nothing. You just lay there in the road. And then like always, the club will say, hey, we'll go later. We'll take care of it. We'll get it. It don't work that way anymore, bro. It's a police society, cameras, telephones everywhere. You can't do that anymore. No more extorting people. Even the bodyguard business, that took a shit because, you got to be bonded and licensed and all this other crap. And people want you to carry a gun and I can't.
And all those things like the whole thing about like calling the police or whatever. I mean, what would you call them for anyways? Ain't going to help you.
No, I'm saying that sometimes people really need help, right? It's say you're in the car with your kid, you crash the car, you guys are stuck on the side of the road in a pair of trees. Nobody knows you're there. You gotta fucking what? You gotta drag yourself out of the wreckage and go to the road.
What I'll say to that, and maybe not in that exact situation, but a similar situation, charters do what they want, right, PeeWee?
Yeah.
Charters do what they want. And then there might become a witch hunt later on. You know what I mean? When the charter does it. I mean, there's it goes charter, state, coast, country. So you got your there's other rules and stuff like that. But
I'm sure there's a lot of people who have done it, right? That are still in the club.
The word on the street or the tapes, the chief did it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing, right?
Yeah.
They've been doing it. Even the ones that said they didn't do it, how do you think they did it in the old days? Like, you know what? If I had Wonder Woman's magic lasso to tie around them, you know what? You could probably, and I'm not saying I don't know in those situations, but here, I'll give you an example. If you take a plea in the federal system, right? You have to admit your crimes in order to get your 3-point acceptance of responsibility. If the federal court runs it to the letter of the law, if you have co-defendants, you have to tell on them.